And here we have yet another beautiful Dreamliner from Etihad Airways in a choose livery. While we still reach the highest of levels in the BS scale of Herpa Wings, we'll find out after the drop. And with that, hello and welcome to a new episode of Review, where we today will take a closer look at a Boeing 787-9 of Etihad Airways. At the front of the box we have the cutout so we can get a glimpse of the aircraft model inside, and at the top of the box we have the Etihad Airways branding. We do also have some design elements taken over from the livery itself that does look rather promising. Unfortunately, of course, the box design doesn't continue with that on the backside, because here we continue with the usual dreadful box design of Herpa Wings with another cutout that looks cheap and is not protective of my model. But what is interesting is the fact that it is a limited edition, and even more interesting so that it states that it is a Herpa Wings Club model. That's interesting because that promises a lot of additional details. Now, before we get any further into today's review, it is worth mentioning that this aircraft model does come with a stand. And here she is, the Boeing 787-9 in the Etihad Airways Choose Italy livery. This, just like all other Choose liveries of Etihad Airways, were launched as a tribute to ADNOC's key international trading markets, industry partners and Etihad Airways destinations. ADNOC is a state-owned oil company of the UAE. Now that that is cleared up, let's focus on the aircraft model in front of us to see what details it has to offer. And we start off with the tail section, where we on the vertical stabilizer have the beautiful Etihad Airways color scheme. We do also have a bit of detailing on the horizontal stabilizer, and on the fuselage we find the full registration code of the aircraft. Towards the very tail of the aircraft we then have a bit of detailing around the APU exhaust, and on top of the fuselage we have the addition of the set dome, where I think Herpa has done a rather decent job. Then at the front of the aircraft and across the fuselage we have the Etihad Airways branding and the company slogan from Abu Dhabi to the world, as well as the writing of Choose Italy. We do also have the flag of the UAE, but no additional details here. A bit curious after all, it is a Wings Club model. The cockpit section itself well comprises of the cockpit windows, the window wipers, above which we have the last letter of the registration code and the emergency hatch for the cockpit, and we do also have the circular marking around the radome. The engine nacelles have been kept in all white but do carry the ADNOC branding and have the silver leading edge printed on, but also here no additional detailing so far. Quite disappointing. The physical detailing of the engines, that's perfectly fine. I really cannot fault Herpa here. The chevron nozzles look great, and also when we look into the engines from the front we can very nicely see the engine fan blades. But it is a Herpa Wings Club model, so surely we will find some detailing on the wings. So if we take a look here at the top side, we can see the different flaps, slats and spoilers have been carved out very nicely, and we have the markings as to where to work on the wings. But that's it. The underside looks fine. Here we have the full registration code of the aircraft, but still, where are all the details? And also when we look at the landing gear, I mean the physical detailing, that is perfectly fine. Herpa is doing well with that. But we don't even have any printed details at the front landing gear, which we would normally get with Herpa Wings Club models. The physical detailing, just like with the landing gear, is also really good with the ram air intakes. That is a decent job from Herpa Wings. The belly of the aircraft has the Etihad Airways branding, which in this case again is being destroyed by a hole in the fuselage, but at least this time we do have a stand, although I must admit I would have preferred not to have the hole at all. And then last but not least, we do also have the doors to the cargo compartments printed on here in the backside of the aircraft, and here at the front of the aircraft. So there we have it, the Boeing 787-9 of Etihad Airways in the Choose Italy livery from Herpa Wings in scale 1 to 500. And what can we say about this aircraft model? Well, before I boil over, let's get the positives out of the way. The physical detailing of the model is great. Herpa does a good job with that. The print quality itself is also of a very high standard and does the really awesome livery justice, but the model is of course being heavily carried by the livery because there are no additional details. But now let us see if we can get a Herpa Wings BS bingo. The model is advertised as a Herpa Wings Club model. That is the case because this is the yearly model that Herpa Wings Club members get for free. That's nice for Wings Club members, but it doesn't mean that no one else can get their hands on it, because larger retailers do also get quite a few of these models, and the model retails there at around 40 euros. Now, the fact that Wings Club models are more expensive than standard models is not a new point, but I know what Herpa charges for this model as part of the Wings Club membership, and that is 13 euros and 45 cents. Now, I would assume that Herpa doesn't make any form of profit with that price for their club members, but they will probably have covered all their costs. So what am I getting for the additional 26 euros and 55 cents? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Nothing beyond what any standard model from Herpa Wings offers these days. And that despite it still being advertised as a Herpa Wings Club model. Sure, I do get a stand, but come on, the production cost of this little piece of plastic will be a few cents at best. Also, what's the point in making this the yearly club model? I mean, you have basically a series of models here with the choose liveries, and you can assume that many collectors would like to have all of them. And then you are basically trying to withhold one of these models from collectors. And sure, you could see it as an incentive to become a club member, but most of the time you wouldn't know what the yearly club model is until shortly before it is released. And unless you live near Nuremberg or are living at least in Germany, other than the bi-monthly, I believe, club magazine, you are probably not getting much out of any of the other membership benefits. But I'm kind of getting off point here talking about the Wings Club and if it's worth it or not. The point is, this is marketed as a Wings Club model. It retails at the price of a club model, but it doesn't offer any of the details of a club model. That is ridiculous. So if you can find it somewhere for the retail price of a standard model, I would say absolutely it's worth having in one's collection. But otherwise, I call this Herpa BS bingo. Now with that, we have reached the end of today's episode. If you have enjoyed this video, then don't forget to leave a like. That would be very much appreciated. And of course, if you are new around here, why not hit subscribe? That would be absolutely awesome. With that, I'd like to say thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you soon again. I'm checking out, and bye.